graphics seem to be crisp and clear.
Oh, yeah. You look good on this end.
You're very crisp and clear.
Oh, well, except for this. The
You're-
graphics.
Yeah, well, there you look crisp and clear.
Oh, nicely
thought
played.
I thought we were changing the name to Crispin. Last name Clear.
Crisp and clear. Okay, I'm going to hit record, and Jim, you're kicking us off.
Please do before the wheels fall off this rig here.
Too late.
Okay. We've derailed. Oh, the music's fading. It's time to say welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. Tonight we'll talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So, get out your history books, find out where Lewis and Clark started. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
Do you think Lewis and Clark did any caching on the way?
Isn't that who put most of the virtuals out?
Yeah,
oh, that would be it, yeah. Yeah, they've been out for a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, tonight our topic is talking about GeoWoodstocks. Perhaps memories of GeoWoodstocks that you've been to, and we're going to have a recap of GeoWoodstock 12 in St. Charles, Missouri. St. Charles, that's where Lewis and Clark started their voyage.
All right.
Now, in order to effectively discuss this topic, we need to bring in our northern neighbor. Some say he faces due north when he signs logs, and ice doesn't melt in his hands.
True.
All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's good to be back, and I'll just warm up my hands on my microphone here. I've missed a couple of weeks, and I'm curious if there's been any feedback from the past episodes.
Well, you know, we love feedback, by the way. And if you would like our one listener out there to provide some feedback, call in any question you might have to 253-693-TFTC. And that's exactly what Dudley Grunt did. So if I've got everything working right, let's go to that feedback and listen to what he has to say.
Steve, hi, this is Dudley Grunt. I'm listening to the most recent episode talking about pocket queries, and I have a burning question about them. Why are they called pocket queries? I understand the query part, but I don't really get the pocket part. I've never understood why are they called pocket queries, not cache queries or whatever. Okay, and by the way, I'm calling you from the home of GeoWoodstocks 13, the great state of Maryland. Hope to see you guys and your listener out here next year. Hope you guys can make it. Happy trails. Bye.
Wow, great question.
Give us a great answer, Land Monkey.
Why are they called pocket queries? Well, I couldn't find it out, but I think we were debating this before the show, and we've come up with a few reasonable suggestions. I think before we get into those, I think what we should do is line up an interview with Brian or someone like that at geocaching.com and ask that question. I think we should get it from the source.
That's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
But in the meantime, let's make stuff up.
Well, that's what we do best.
That's the whole purpose of this podcast, actually.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that pops to mind is, one uses a pocket square to spruce up a blazer. Perhaps you can use pocket queries to spruce up your geocaching experience.
Wow. I had never gone there.
No?
No. But, hey, it's as good as anything else, right?
That's exactly right.
Good enough for caching the Northwest. Did you know that in World War II they introduced a newer, smaller battleship and called it a pocket battleship? So this is a smaller query than every cache in existence in the entire geocaching.com database. Maybe that's it.
All right, I've got one for you.
Okay.
What has cache in it and you put it in your pocket?
Oh,
well,
a wallet.
Not in my wallet.
Oh, it's from Google Wallet.
So because you put caches in them.
Yeah.
They're
And you put
pocket
them in your
queries.
pocket. Well, there you go.
Well,
That's
actually,
a really bad answer.
I went to the only geocaching historian I know, Daryl W4, and asked him. And his response is, I can guess it goes back to the Moby Reader. And I think they called them pocket books. So I remember Moby Reader on the Pocket PC. And maybe it was just Pocket PC, Pocket Queries. Everything was
it's going
Pocket
back
back
there.
then.
Well, yeah, pocket just denotes something small and portable, right?
Mhm.
Something that fits in your pocket. Pocket railroad train for maybe. I don't
Yes,
know.
exactly. Well, I just wanted to bring in some ambiance of the environment that I'm working in here tonight. You may notice that the background has changed slightly, rendering it even more interesting.
Yes, well, and it's different than last week, but it's still not your normal cache cave.
And it will be different than next week.
Okay, you get around.
I do. I don't know if I need to, but I get around. So, Moby Reader had pocket books, and that's some of the original the original pocket queries were designed to be loaded into Moby Reader on a Pocket PC. And I think, well, you know what? I'm going to say without a doubt, that's the reason they're called pocket queries. There we go.
Makes sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Daryl
there you
W4, such a source of wisdom.
Exactly.
If Daryl doesn't know, it can't be known.
That's right. That's right.
I think you're
Hey,
right.
Our topic tonight is about GeoWoodstocks. Have either one of you two been to a GeoWoodstock?
You know, I have not. I didn't even make the one right here in Washington, and good grief, that was practically in my own backyard.
As I understand it, the GeoWoodstock in, I believe it was Carnation, Washington. That was in 2010. I did some searching on the geocaching.com site to figure that out. And that predates my caching experience, so that's a no from me as well. But I think if any of our listeners have GeoWoodstock experience and opinions, they should contact us.
Absolutely.
They really should.
So, before we start making more stuff up, what is a GeoWoodstock?
Oh, let's make stuff up.
Oh, well, a GeoWoodstock is a music festival. No. Now, I was lucky to attend number 8 in our fair state. I was also able to go to number 9 in Warren, Pennsylvania. And interesting note on number 9, it was the first and unfortunately last GeoWoodstock to have an all-day podcasting venue.
What did you guys do?
Who did you anger?
Maybe it didn't go over well. I don't know. I thought it did. There was one building set aside with a stage on it. Daryl from Michigan brought down a lot of gear because, Pennsylvania's not all that far, right? And we were able to do large panel-type discussions on all the major podcasts. So it was a lot of fun.
That would have been very cool.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think one of your profile pictures on some social media somewhere was taken at that GeoWoodstock.
Bingo. That's my Google Plus page.
Yeah.
Does it look like this?
Kind of, sort of, but I think it goes the other direction.
Oh.
And the headphones are bigger. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I had headphones. I didn't pack headphones this time. Sorry.
It comes up on my cell phone every time you call me because it's your Google profile picture.
Gotcha.
So no, I didn't make that one. Didn't make number 9. Didn't make. Frankly, I haven't made any GeoWoodstocks. And I think it's really because I'm just not into large crowds. I'm a Star Trek fan. I've never been to a Star Trek convention. I'm not really into comic books, but Comic-Con doesn't interest me. And even though I'm kind of tech-minded, I don't really want to go to some of these tech things, South by Southwest, NAB, all those. I love the stuff there, but all these things are cons. Comic-Con and this con and that con. I always wondered, why do you think they picked GeoWoodstock? Because to me, Woodstock kind of has a negative connotation. Maybe it's just because I'm old, but Woodstock denotes drugs and filth and nudity, and I think it'd be more like CacheCon or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really against these big conventions. I just don't have a desire to go myself. I'm happy to let you guys go, fight the crowds, the parking, overpriced food, all that, and I'll just watch podcasts and you can tell me all about it. I'm sure that it's me. I'm missing out, but Well, on the subject of others going to GeoWoodstocks and conventions and reporting back, tell us all about GeoWoodstock 12 in St. Charles, Missouri.
Well, one of the interesting points that were brought up at the closing ceremonies of GeoWoodstock, so I'm starting from the end, we'll work to the beginning. They mentioned that they worked very closely with the city of St. Charles, and the city of St. Charles couldn't get that whole GeoWoodstock idea, so they kept calling it the Geocaching National Convention, which really isn't too bad of a description, and it fits in what you were saying there, Whitson.
Yeah, could be worse.
It could be.
There are worse things they could call it.
That's true. Now, one of the interesting things at this GeoWoodstock were the lab caches. They had 10 lab caches set up, take you on a nice tour of the city. In fact, the city was actually part of the event of GeoWoodstock. It was very well integrated, and I have to say, I think this is one of the best GeoWoodstocks we've seen yet.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Well, so those lab caches, that would have been still the geocaching adventure lab caches, is that correct? So
I don't know if
coordinates and you have a smartphone and you're looking for a keyword.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just like the iHeart geocaching that we did
Right.
in February, you did one of those. This was 10 individual ones of those. Sent you to a coordinate and you looked for something and entered a keyword. Now, they were nice enough to give you a GPX file if you wanted to download that into your GPSR. You could look for the information and then load that or type that into a web page at a later date, or you could use it on your smartphone.
Nice. Now, and those were only available during the GeoWoodstock event itself?
They were available for 8 days.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's
Cool. Well, and I think for those of us who didn't make it to GeoWoodstock 12 to hear any official announcements with respect to lab caches, we all did get an email from geocaching.com about the announcement that on June 3rd, our lab caches are going to be rolled into our geocaching stats.
There you go.
And
So,
go ahead.
Land Monkey, I was thinking for you, this might be important. You might want to go and lock some of your important milestones, because if the lab cache comes in, even if you have one, that could throw your milestones off.
True.
It can, and we've actually had already done that because we've experienced other things that have thrown our milestones off, and have learned the very important secret of locking your milestones. One of those undocumented features that you have to, once it happens to you and you start to panic, and Google, you figure out quite quickly how to do that. But what the other thing we noted is that we have GSAC running quite frequently, and we use GSAC to export a lot of our stats using GSAC macros. And what occurred to us is that we are going to have to do some fiddling there once June 3rd rolls around, because we created fillers for the lab caches we found in GSAC, so that our numbers would be right in GSAC.
Oh,
so
you're a smart guy. You thought ahead.
Now we have to unthink ahead, but yeah. So it's and a lot of other people have done the same thing. So it's just good to be aware that this change is coming, because what will happen is all of a sudden if you found 10 lab caches, all of a sudden after June 3rd, the next time you run an export and you're over by 10 finds, right? And you're going to be going, what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So those 10 I thought were done very well. They mimicked the steps of a Where I Go. So we did those on Friday at the pre-registration event, and then thought, let's do a Where I Go the next day, and realized we're walking right back through where we just came through. If we had done them together, we could have gotten 2 icons at the same time.
Cool.
So one of the things we did, I was there with Daryl W4, and we also do the Geo Gearheads podcast. I'm sure you two are aware of that. I'm hoping the other listeners are aware of it too. It's a fun podcast to do. We did a meetup at one of the local shops, at the local cafes. It was the Bike Stop Cafe. It was a really interesting place. Little cafe on one side, bike rental shop on the other. So you could rent a bike, and they had the Katy Trail right there, which is 237 miles long.
Wow.
They want you to rent the bike, do the entire trail, and you get a T-shirt. I killed the Katy 237. So if you can do 237 miles on a bike in a day, they'll get you a free T-shirt.
I think that's what invented cars.
Oh, I'll pass on the T-shirt.
Actually, it was a train. It was a rail trail, so I think they intended to do it in trains.
Okay.
There were a couple of photo flash mobs.
Fun.
One, again, on Friday before. It was in a park. It was quite a distance away. And we got there, and it was easy to find because what else do you have at a flash mob but a large inflatable gorilla?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're not doing flash mobs, you're missing all the large inflatable gorillas.
Helium happy primate.
There's nothing that sells cars like a helium happy primate.
That's right.
And so we did that one, and then on Saturday, right at the end of our meetup, and just across the street, they did another photo flash mob. Okay. So that was fun. They're thinking there were almost 500 people at both events.
Very cool.
So bad cop, I'm familiar with the concept of a flash mob.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know what you mean by photo flash mob, but clarify for me.
It was a photo finish. No. Simply that you're there, you're 15 minutes, you sign the log, and at the end of the 15 minutes, you take a picture.
Oh, okay. So the purpose is really to get as many people from the event together at one time to get a group picture.
Group picture, right.
Okay, got it.
Cool.
So speaking of group pictures, they also had a group picture. This time I thought it was very unusual at the beginning of the event. At the other GeoWoodstocks I've been to, the group pictures at the end when they come up to, thank everybody and then announce where GeoWoodstock will be the next year, which our caller Dudley Grunt has spoiled that for me. Thank you, Mr. Grunt. No, that's fine. Again, I said they worked very closely with the city of St. Charles, and the city of St. Charles was very generous and gracious in their support of this event. So they sent over a ladder truck, a fire truck.
Nice.
And pulled it up there, and a fireman climbed up almost 2/3 of the way and got the big group photo in front of the big GeoWoodstock letters.
Wow.
So.
And those were big letters. I saw them on your Google Plus page.
Yeah, I took pictures. Anytime I see a letter C that's bigger than I am, because, well, it's the first letter of my name, I have to go get a picture with it.
First letter of the word top, yeah.
Happened twice. So it's not, I'm not looking for it all the time, but, well, if it's there, I'm going to go to it.
I'm always looking for it.
The venue this time for GeoWoodstock was a park, a city park. It was a very long and wide city park right along a river that happens to be flowing right next to St. Louis. I forgot the name of it. It's got an interesting way to spell. Oh, the Mississippi. That was it.
Oh, yes.
Mississippi. Now, Land Monkey, do you learn to spell Mississippi in Canada? Is this a thing, or is this just a U.S. thing?
Well, there's no A's in it.
Oh.
we learned to spell. Thanks a lot. We learned to spell it as a game when we were kids.
Okay.
Because it's fun to say Mississippi, but other than that.
Okay. That's pretty much the only reason we have it here.
Yeah. We learned to spell St. Lawrence and Fraser and Columbia.
Yeah, we don't know how to spell those here.
No. You know how to spell Columbia.
Oh, yes. Okay. C-O... yeah. Anyway, the city was integrated into the event. We were only one block off of downtown, which was really nice. So you had all of historic St. Charles, which, if you know your history, St. Charles was the original capital of Missouri.
Hmm.
And they had it in a small brick building. Like the size, we would say, the size of a good shed or a small garage. And then they moved it to a larger building, and once that was completed, they decided they wanted it in another town. So, isn't that the way things work?
Oh, yeah.
They shared this park with the Irish River Festival, and I found out, oddly enough, it had nothing to do with Jeremy Irish. I thought it was a
How about
festival for him.
So the Mississippi is Irish?
Right. I don't know how that happened. But so this was the first GeoWoodstock that had, well, let's say adult beverages right next door. They had GeoWoodstock. They had fair rides, merry-go-rounds and octopi and
Carnival
big
ride
slides,
stuff, yeah.
carnival rides. And then they had the Irish Festival, which actually worked out very nice. You could walk over there for, your fair type food.
Mm-hmm.
There was one Scottish food truck that I could see, and I wondered if I could walk up and order haggis.
Well, yeah.
I kind of questioned eating haggis from a food truck.
I question eating a lot of stuff from food trucks, actually.
But especially haggis. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So having the fair rides or the festival rides right close to the event there, did you have to go in the salt and pepper shaker to find a magnetic nano, or?
Oh, that would have been cool. You got to get in car 3.
Yeah.
Good luck signing that.
They've been upside down a few times.
Yeah,
that's why you need a space pen.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes,
that ride's upside down.
Sorry. Rabbit trail.
No, that was funny. That was funny. But along the Katy Trail, they were not allowed to hide geocaches along the Katy Trail normally.
That's what Katy did.
Yeah. Well, Katy dids are completely different.
Okay.
They granted an exception for GeoWoodstock. So along the Katy Trail, they put in a couple of gadget caches. And boy, do I love gadget caches.
Oh, me too.
They did a couple of electronic ones. I don't want to give them away, but electronic ones that you had to touch or short out with wires to find out what the combination to a lock was. And all these had a lock, a 4-digit code lock. So the puzzles came out with numbers to help you solve that lock combination.
Cool.
There was one mechanical one that used a balance, and that was ingenious. And there was another one that used mirrors that was really well done. Unfortunately, these are only temporary caches.
But they probably gave you some good ideas. We can make.
I was going to say, yeah.
Gadget caches around the Northwest here. I'll have to work on that this summer.
Exactly. That one balance cache is one that speaks to me. So we're going to have to do something like that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to build a gadget cache right out back here. So.
I'm a little out of balance anyway. But the idea was, some of these you have to do multiple things, and then, bang, the cache appears or opens somehow. This one just gave you the combination to the lock. So I feel it's really quite secure.
Very cool.
So anyway, Dudley Grunt mentioned the next location, and that's going to be in Boonesboro, Maryland. It's near the D.C. area. Okay. They're going back to a big farm. So we thought maybe if it's going to be in D.C., maybe it's going to be a virtual Woodstock.
Hey, there you go.
Because, there's a lot of virtual caches in D.C.
Maybe they should have GeoWoodstock at Woodstock sometime.
Oh, that would be fun. So this is another one that's east of the Mississippi. So let's see. 8 was in Washington. 9 was in Pennsylvania. 10 was in Indiana. 11 was in Florida. 12 was in St. Louis. Now, why technically St. Louis is west of the Mississippi, it's on the western bank of the Mississippi.
It's barely over there.
Yeah. So they need to start moving things west.
Yes.
Especially northwest.
There's lots of large expanses of land in Colorado, Montana.
Yeah.
They could do a big GeoWoodstock around the Area 51 ET Highway.
Oh, they could. A bunch of caches may disappear and never be heard from again, though.
Oh, good point. That may not be a bad thing.
I'll just let that one go.
Okay, sorry. So anyway, it was a well done event. In your package, you got a big geocoin, which was really well done this year. It was, good diameter, thick, heavy, what you're looking for in a geocoin.
Yeah.
If you're interested, GX Proxy still has some more of those event coins, so you can go get one if you missed out.
Isn't that kind of cheating?
Yeah, I'm with you, Witsand, on that. I don't like to have coins if I haven't been to the event.
Yeah.
To me, it's like a memento of something you've done.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm all for being big and thick. I represent that myself, but I don't want to have a coin.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like it was great. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of really good planning went into it, and I love that the city embraced it. That sounds really cool. Did you hear any complaints? Maybe something didn't go quite so well, something they change next time?
The only complaint was in the food situation.
So did they have challenges with the food? I thought the food trucks that they used, and again, my major event experience is limited to Groundspeak's 2013 block party and the Going Ape event on the same weekend. The Going Ape event, they don't provide food, so that's easy. But well, actually, no, correction, they did, and they actually did a really good job with snack food that was available. But the 2013 block party worked really well for my experience at a mega event. They used food trucks, had a great selection of them. So what was the food situation at GeoWoodstock 12?
Well, I think they did something very similar to that. Now, at GeoWoodstock 8 Incarnation, that was all catered by one person. Same at 9. One company came in and did all the catering, so you never have to leave the premises. However, with this one, since the city was just so close by, what they did is they gave you a food voucher that you could take to a nearby restaurant. And for lunch, they had 5 restaurants listed on there, or you could go over and get the fair food at those vendors, and the voucher was good for $12. So I thought that was really nice. The problem came in the one cafe that Daryl and I really liked, the Bike Stop Cafe. We went there at about 1 o'clock. And stopped in, and they said, it's we're doing our best. It's going to be an hour before you get your food.
Wow.
Wow.
They just weren't ready for that kind of size of crowd? Is that?
Well, they're a very small cafe. They're about the size of a Starbucks.
Right.
Okay.
So they're, if you look at, they had 3 tables inside and maybe a dozen tables outside. So they just didn't have the capacity to deal with that. They brought in enough staff. I thought things were working well, but that Bike Stop Cafe was directly across the street from GeoWoodstock.
Oh,
there were other restaurants, a couple of blocks away. And I think it was just convenience. Let's just stop here and get something to eat. So talking to people that went to the other restaurants, they said the food was good. And the wait times weren't as bad. So we came back at just about 3 o'clock when lunch was over. We came in just a few minutes early. And there, after the crowds were gone, we got served in a reasonable amount of time. I went back up to get a refill of water, and the gal was counting the vouchers. And I said, so how'd you do? She goes, well, they told me they print 2,000 of these vouchers, and we've got over 1,000 of them. So they did over half of the business. That's great for the Bike Stop Cafe. We love their food. I would go back there in a heartbeat. Maybe we need to open a Bike Stop Cafe in the Northwest.
That works.
That works, yeah.
Maybe somebody else should open it. We'll just patronize it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So
are the vouchers good for $13 next year for GeoWoodstock 13?
I thought maybe as much. Now they said they mentioned GeoWoodstock 2015 at the event. I don't know if there's the whole thing with can't say 13. That's an unlucky.
Come
number.
on.
I don't know. They mentioned GeoWoodstock 2015.
Huh.
Everybody else is throwing out GeoWoodstock 13. Now,
well, that is what follows 12.
And
Oh,
all
yeah.
base
But
10 numbering systems, yeah.
yeah. What about floor? There's usually not floor number 13.
Depends on the building.
There is,
I
yeah.
have actually been in a building with a floor 13 once before, but it's rare.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
Very
they
strange.
promised that the GeoWoodstock 14 will be west of GeoWoodstock 13.
Just like Kansas City or something.
I don't know, but you can't go much more east without going into the
Vancouver.
ocean.
I would like Vancouver. That'd be great.
You know, people have mentioned Vancouver. Why not?
Yeah.
I think from what I've read about the GeoWoodstocks, there's like some sort of organizing committee that needs to be struck a couple of years in advance to lobby for it. It's almost like the Olympics, right? From what I understand. So yeah, as far as I know, the local community up here hasn't gotten that organized. So
And maybe it could be the Geo Olympics instead of Geo Woodstock.
Oh,
there you go.
yeah.
Well, you're talking about food. Food's important. They say an army marches on its stomach, and the way to reach a man's heart is through his stomach. Food is a big deal. When I do wind up going to some large events, I usually try to keep myself self-sufficient to avoid, like you were saying, the hour waits and this and that. I pack up some Cliff Bars, fill my hydration pack, because it's really important to stay hydrated at those kind of things, and stay away from the concessions. You mentioned the food trucks at the Irish Fair. Well, I love those because I have eaten my fair share of truck food. They're usually overpriced, and like you said, you have to wait a long time, and, well, they're not always the most healthy food out there. Fried foods and all that stuff. Doesn't mean I don't like it, but...
Well, I have either less willpower or less common sense, and I find that I enjoy most. In fact, when we were at the Groundspeak event, the block party, in support of those guys and the organization down there, and their obvious dedication to healthy lifestyles, I think the food trucks they had at block party were great. They had falafels, sushi, salad, other healthy food choices. It was, and there was some fried food ones too, but
yeah.
I don't even remember a long wait time. I think we just walked right up to the trucks. It was pretty amazing.
Well, and I think the block party is a fairly short duration thing, so some people eat before or after and try to do that kind of thing, whereas Geo Woodstock being an all-day thing or multi-day. Was it multi-day or all-day?
It's all day. There are other events around that multi-day time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, well, I'm not always successful in avoiding the food trucks because even though I plan well, I like them. Even though they're expensive and unhealthy sometimes, I like a lot of the fried food and stuff. I'll wind up going and standing in line and eating something that's dripping grease and enjoying it at the time, and maybe not so much the next day. I have good intentions. I just don't have a lot of willpower.
All right. So, hey, Bad Cop, do you have any other observations or opinions about the event, and any other advice for our listener and ourselves, whether going forwards to either number 13/2015 or the mystery location west of the Mississippi, should we be considering going?
Well, if you happen to be in the area, it's definitely worth it. If you haven't been to a Geo Woodstock, it's a huge event. You get to meet people. I met people that I knew online. It was really nice to see people that I've talked to in Google Hangouts like this, and I get to see them in 3 dimensions rather than just the 2. So that, any event is going to meet people. Mega event, you're going to meet more people. That's it. There is that mystique, that interest around a Geo Woodstock just because it has been historically the biggest event. But if you have a chance, you got to go do it at least once, just to say, hey, I've been to a Geo Woodstock. Now, Washington D.C., really quite a distance away from the state of Washington. So
A little bit, yeah.
it's going to be the same weekend. So this next year it's going to be May 23rd in D.C. So if you happen to be back there, say leading a group of 8th graders, it would be convenient. You could just add a couple of days to your trip and stop in.
Yeah, I think I'd have to add 3 or 4 weeks from the time our trip usually goes. But not that I'm opposed to that.
There you go.
I could stay back there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and finally get all those virtuals.
And probably eat a
It'll
lot,
take about that long.
eat a lot of food truck food too, probably.
Do they allow food trucks on the mall?
I don't know. Yeah, there's little handheld, the sidewalk hot dog carts and those kind of things. There's a lot of those around.
All right. So speaking, was there, before I segue us out, Bad Cop? Was there anything else on the GeoWoodstock you wanted to add?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Of course, there were more events we went to. I do have to say, I made a milestone for myself. We got 4 states in one day. That was first for me.
Nice.
And I got 10 icons or 10 different cache types in one day.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
had I done the lab caches the day after, I would have gotten 11. But 10 beats anything I've ever done before. So
Yeah, but 11 beats 10.
yeah, it's still double digits. 10 isn't bad.
It's only 2 in binary.
That's why your amp has 11 on it.
That's right.
Exactly. It
more
goes to
than 10.
11.
Because that's more than 10.
All right. Well, hey, before we start moving towards closing out on the topic of milestones, I just wanted to mention that Mrs. Land Monkey and I hit cache find number 4,500 tonight.
Wow.
On
Wow.
our
Impressive.
ongoing geocaching streak. So
Very impressive.
We know you weren't caching in 2010. When did you start caching?
we started caching in 2012, August of 2012.
Wow. That's really impressive. That
Yeah, we're not even August of 14, so that's very.
In less than 2 years, you have 4,500 finds.
You have been busy little land monkeys.
And you've got a streak going. Now,
Yeah.
has the streak started? I mean, was that your original find that started this streak?
No, we started the caching streak last spring. So spring of 2013, we found a geocache while we were doing a trail that was a challenge cache, and it said, "Hey, if you do 60 days in a row, you can claim this cache." We thought, huh. And this was our first introduction to challenge caches as well. We thought, well, that's kind of cool. We could do 60 days in a row, and now we're at day 442.
So you've done 60 days in a row multiple times, like 8 times.
A couple of times. So we just keep going back to that same cache and logging it again.
I was going to say, you've logged it 7 times now, yeah.
It's kind of messing up my stats, though.
And that's how you can keep the streak going.
Wow.
Yeah. So one other piece of news that I'm gonna sneak in here, if you guys don't mind, is Metrovan geocachers. So up in our neck of the woods, up here in Vancouver, British Columbia, we did a pilot of a virtual event that we tried a few months ago, and it went over fairly well. It's we stole the term cacher coffee, and had a lot of fun. It was an online event that we hosted in Google Hangouts, and we are going to do another one on the 25th of June. So
cool.
Nice. So an
Any
actual
listener who's
virtual
interested?
event.
you got it, yeah.
Now, did you get a smiley for it?
No.
Okay.
But
so it's
one of the
not-
things
it's
we're
not
thinking about
within,
doing, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is that we actually host it somewhere where we have public Wi-Fi and make it an event, and yeah, you get a smiley if you come.
There you go. There you go. Nice.
We'll see if we've got time to do that, but if not, we'll do that for the 3rd. But right now, the second one is scheduled now for the 25th of June,
Very
so
cool.
we're excited.
Oh, very good.
Thank you. And on that, next week, when the 3 of us gentlemen are together to embarrass ourselves in front of our listener, we're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, caching on business trips. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that's very cool. And I'm looking forward to being joined once again by a streaking land monkey,
Wow.
so to speak.
Okay, well, let's keep this podcast above board here. I'm going to close it out. So, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Now, you can be part of the show, just like Dudley Grunt. Call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, question, concern any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Visit cachingnw.com for show notes on this or any of the Caching in the Northwest podcast. Your support helps keep quality shows like this coming, so please click the PayPal button on the website. This show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2014 by Chris Umfenauer. Good night, folks.
Night all.
Night. Thanks for coming.
And we're clear.
Clear there, but live on the air, right?
Still live on the air, yeah. I like to give people who watch the YouTube video just a little more of what we do in the background. This is what makes the show happen.
Wow.
It's just too much to take in.
Oh, that's the...
Definitely getting their money's worth tonight.
I'm sitting on a barrel.
Sitting on a barrel.
How are you now?
Is it a barrel full of monkeys?
Barrel full of land monkeys.
Hey. Streaking land monkeys.
Ooh.
That's hard to do in a barrel.
Yeah, well.
If you have the barrel on, you're not technically streaking.
Oh.
I'm thinking the barrel with the suspenders. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, roll out the barrel. We're having a barrel of fun.
We are indeed.
Never a dull moment with us.
Well, gentlemen,
maybe a couple.
a couple of dull moments. I'm going to head off to bed because...
It's tomorrow there.
Yeah, exactly.
Living in Tomorrowland. Excellent.
Tomorrow's going to happen. You don't have to worry about it. I've already experienced it for you.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've heard it reported from Australia that it's good down there too, because they do everything different down there.
That's right.
At least a day ahead.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Okay. Until next
Bad
week.
Cop, thank you very much, and it's good to see you.
Next
Safe
week
travels.
I'll be in St. Louis. I'll be coming to you from a hotel room.
From misery.
Very cool.
So that's
All right,
my
gentlemen.
business trip I'll be cashing on.
Awesome.
Oddly enough, that's what we'll be talking about.
How appropriate for the topic.
Exactly.
You just go all out, don't you?
Well, it's whatever my life leads me to. Okay, gentlemen, until next week.
All right. Night.
Cheerio.
He left us live.
Yeah.
We could talk.
We're in
all night
control.
long. Oh, what should we talk about?
Him.
Of course. Hello.
I'm surprised that it's still live even after
Yeah.
he's dropped off. I thought it would.
Being that he started the hangout. So now the
it's not
question is, I
interesting.
wonder how to control that.
Let's play with things. I'm in a non-moderated call, it told me.
Oh, here's control room.
Yeah, I tried to launch control room. It told me I was in a non-moderated call.
Huh.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Dogs
Well,
and
we talked
cats living together.
Mass hysteria. We talk about the wheels falling off.
That is funny. There, let's see if I go to this. Caching in the Northwest. Sorry if anybody's still watching this and they're terribly bored, but now I'm curious. All right. Caching in the Northwest, GeoWoodstock. Hey, Daryl Wattenberg and Gary Robertson were watching.
Oh no.
Possibly still are. Oh,
Possibly still are.
yes. Gary says he only sees a land monkey on his screen. That's unfortunate, Gary. I'm very sorry about that. Huh. Isn't that interesting? The magic of technology.
Yeah.
Chris is going to be so upset when he finds out what we've done.
We don't have to tell him.
No, he'll never know. It's not like he actually goes and watches the videos. Very, very cool. All right. What do we got?
Well, let's see. There
going
were 26 comments, huh?
on? Is there really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gary said there's a lot of munchies there.
At where the GeoWoodstock was?
Apparently, apparently there was a lot of talk between Daryl and Gary while we were yapping.
Oh, excellent. I'm trying. I have lost the particular link.
He said good night, loony podcasters. The magic behind the curtain.
That's true.
Yes. Yes.
Can't
Daryl,
argue
who of
with
course
that.
knows all the answers, says that if everybody exits the Hangout, which I kind of assumed as well, but it's just really more fun to start poking around with buttons and knobs and seeing if we can mess something up.
Yeah, in fact, what I'm going to do, on that note, I'm going to play with Google Effects, and it's going to be recorded forever.
Daryl says the week after it's going to be caching with your parents.
That's funny. Oh, it's interesting. Google Effects isn't working. Rats. What about that? Oh, that part does.
Oh yeah, sounds work.
All right. Come on, Witsend, one-liner. Give us a one-liner. No pressure.
Skeleton walks into a bar and says, "I'll have a beer and a mop."
Yeah, we're sad.
Yeah, that's about the best I got.
Oh, there we go. That one worked.
This is like leaving your kid in the car when you go into the grocery store.
I think that was Daryl's point. Like when you come back out and you put the key in the ignition and the wipers are going and the signals are on.
Yeah. Not that that's ever happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say it never happened to me, but
no, never.
I've heard stories. Oh dear. All right. I guess we better just shut this sucker down, eh?
Yeah, it's not as much fun, but we could.
All right. Well, if the episode was on GeoWoodstock, we can call this segment at the end GeoWoodsuck because we're really messing things up.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, as do I.
And on that bombshell, I'll bid adieu to my Canadian neighbor, and we'll see you next week for caching on a business trip, right?
Exactly. And goodbye to Daryl and Gary. Thanks for watching.